Namaste, hope you are doing well. Today we will deliberately speed run through the solution of a question that came in IIT JAM Mathematical Statistics section C, and it was about probability calculation. And let's see, feel free to take a pause and note the question, but essentially what the question is asking, that a bat has been manufactured and it's defective, you know that, and given that you know that, what is the probability of the other bat being manufactured not being defective? Now, simple multiplicative rule gives us this, and let's focus on this numerator at the time, and we are using law of total probability to break this event into the consideration of the underlying factories that are there, because the question also says that there are two factories, only one of them at a time can be the one to be the production house of the bats. And then we again use multiplicative rule to transition each of these two into this form and this form. And given that we know that under the fixation of the factory, the bats are independent, it's stated in the question. So using that, we can isolate the probabilities like this in both the situations, and we have this, because this is equal to this, as b1 and b2 are both identical when they are conditioned under f, because they are random, so means they are independent and identical. And now let's go through the denominator. The denominator is essentially the same and maybe simpler as well, because we have the usage of law of total probability to condition on the factories f1 and f2. And once that is done, we use the multiplicative rule and we get this structure, which is similar to this structure where it is squared, but here it's just one bat being in consideration, so it's like this. And then what do? We club it together, numerator and denominator brought together, and we systematically note the values of the appropriate variables as well and plug them into the equation. And thankfully both factories can happen with equal probability, so just cancel them first. And essentially it's two values, the numerator has their squares added and the denominator has them added. And what is it? It's 0.26 by 0.60, 26 by 60, which is 13 by 30. And yeah, that is going to be the answer, which is going to be somewhat around 0.4343. Yeah, so that is the thing. We solved this question in about, what's the time we took? Yeah, 2-3 minutes. So maybe not that fast of a speed run, but yeah. And another interesting thing, suppose this was IIT JAM, right? But suppose this comes some time later in a different shape or form in ISI and ask you that here you knew the conditioning on one bat. Suppose the question says that all the bats that have been uh, seen from the manufacturing factory, you don't know which manufacturing factory, all of them are defective. So what is the probability of the other, the next bat in the line also being defective? So in that case, this thing that we have here, right, this would become something like n plus 1 over here, because we have n bats produced and all of them have been defective, and now there's another bat into place, and it was all conditioned on those n bats being produced. And then we would be taking n to infinity, and what we would be ending up seeing is that, and it's very intuitive as well, that if think about it, every bat is defective, so it is indicative of, very much indicative of the fact that the factory which is more prone to produce defective bats is being used, which is this F1 factory which has this. So it's this factory that is being used, so the next bat that is produced should also be coming from this factory, and hence that should also be 0.5. And it's something interesting to think about and check out, that the way you get these is same by following this process and this process, and it is something that you can investigate on your own. But yeah, it's something to see that intuition checks out, something extra. And hope you enjoy whatever video it is that you see next after this, and take care. Hare Krishna.